Welcome to Switch VO. My name is Marco, and I am an amateur voiceover artist that really got into it, as you can tell, because I'm a big nerd. And I really started when I'd play with my action figures, and I'd give them all different voices and had fun with it that way. And it's just always been something that was fun to me. And then eventually one day I was like, I guess I can make some money doing this. So I've been doing this for I don't know a few years now, I think, and I've been kind of just a little side thing, but I've been having a lot of fun doing it. And today I want to take a look at the character of Khonshu from the recently finished Moon Knight series over on Disney Plus. When I first heard Khonshu's voice, because we had seen some some footage of him in the trailers, and what a sick, wicked design he has. Very dark and horror looking, and super cool looking design. And when I first heard his voice, and especially because, like in the clip, it's inside Steven's head, so you don't see him speaking. And I just like, is this Khonshu's voice?
Go back to sleep, worm.
Hello?
You're not supposed to be here.
So yeah, at first it just, I don't know, it didn't really click together with me. I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. It seems a little strange, like an odd choice for the design, compared to the voice. As I watched through the series, I did end up liking it a bit more, and especially, I'm not familiar with the voice actor's name at the moment. I know I've heard him before, but I think he did a really good job at certain inflections of emotion and stuff, like I said, as the series progresses, and I really like it. However, I've also heard that from other people that they thought the choice for the voice for Khonshu was a little off. And so I just want to take everybody, especially when there's a character, like when you're reading a comic book, and you kind of, even if you don't do it out loud, you kind of have their voice in your head a little bit. So I just wanted to kind of do my interpretation. If Marvel came to me and it's like, this is the character design you have, and we are looking for a voice for him, this would be my audition, I guess. And like I said, my interpretation of how I kind of envisioned him sounding. So not really attacking the actual voice actor, but just doing something for fun. So now we are in Mixcraft, which is the program that I use. I actually have the full Adobe suite. I use it for Photoshop and video editing and stuff, but I just never got over to using Audition, just because I've used Mixcraft for many, many years. I probably need to eventually make my way over to using that. I'm sure it's a very, very nice program. I just sometimes you get comfortable with something and stick with it. So we're gonna go ahead and do some takes and just kind of see. Because the thing also, like, sometimes you just kind of look at a character and you're like, I think his voice is gonna be like that, and you got to record it and then like really think about it. Like, is this what works? So the first thing I want to do is, like I said, the character has a very dark, horror-esque design, so I'm going to do a very deep, kind of gravelly tone. Make sure when you're doing a voice like this, you want to do your vocal exercises, which I don't do a ton of. I don't, there's a lot, and it helps, and sometimes, especially if I feel like I'm really struggling to like get my words out, and my lips are kind of feel like they're stuck together and don't want to enunciate anything, I will definitely do more exercises to stretch my lips and mouth and everything. But one that I do quite frequently, because I do a lot of demon type voices, is I just work on deepening my voice. So with something like this, you just want to just kind of hold a low note and really try to push down that low note as deep as you can. Focus it in your throat. Something else that I also try to do is, in a way, kind of almost really kind of dry my voice. I want that gravelly distortion element to it, which is something that I'm decently familiar with because I do, or I used to do a lot of like metal vocals and stuff. So, but yeah, and it's gonna look silly if you don't, if you're not familiar with vocal warm ups. Every single one of them looks goofy, but you just want to. And see, for me, I want that bit of shaky gravelness to it. That's the kind of tone that I'm looking for to produce like that. So that didn't really come out too well, but I don't know. I just try to, like I said, push it deep, and then also get a bit of that gravel for this particular type of voice.
Go back to sleep, worm. You're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be here.
Alright, so I recorded my take, my first take anyway, just to kind of feel the water and you know, kind of get my first little sample going. I will take this and instinctively just go 2 semitones down, especially when I'm recording something it's supposed to be this big and monstrous type of voice. Don't feel bad to really mess around with the effects, because it's I don't know, your voice is an instrument, and sometimes you know, I feel like some people might think that it's cheating, but you know, when you see somebody doing a guitar solo, you want them to have distortion and reverb or delay or whatever they're putting on their guitar. It's part of it. It's part of the art. I'm not just because you add certain effects, and this really goes a lot to my, like, I do a lot of robot voiceover work as well, and it's not as simple as just turning on your effects and then suddenly anybody can do it. There is a lot of nuance in the way that you use your voice, and there's certain things that I do, and I add in these low rumbles in a voice like this to once you pitch it down and have this, you know, bass boost and whatever else you're doing, you're just amplifying what your voice is already doing. So don't feel ashamed to modify your voice to fit a character, because guess what? We're not a giant orc. You know what I mean? So when you change your voice, especially for something like this, if you're doing just a regular human voice, that's a completely different thing. But when you're doing something that is, you know, a monster or a robot or a giant or whatever the case may be, you're going to be adding certain effects to really capture that sound. So let's go ahead and take a listen to some of these takes.
Go back to sleep, worm. You're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be here.
Okay, so I think I like this take, and it's kind of hard for me to pick between these two. I think this take here is a little bit more aggressive, so I think I like this one. It's a little, I don't know, more nuanced in it.
Go back to sleep, worm. You're not supposed to be here.
So in that, you can really hear the, like I said, the difference that, you know, adding those bass boosts, pitching it down a bit, it really gives that growl, a bit of a rumble to it. And like I said, I mean, I've been doing voiceover for a little while now, and what people primarily come to, you know, I do a lot of different voiceovers, but the stuff that people really like me for, and I really stand out in, is primarily my demon and monster voices, as well as my robot voices. So, and partially that's because that's the stuff I really enjoy doing. When you really like something and you're having a lot of fun doing something, typically it's going to show in your work. And you know, I don't feel bad that, you know, that's my niche. Like I said, I do other work. It's not as often, but yeah, this is the stuff that I'm more so known for, I guess. I'm not known for, not like I'm a big superstar or nothing, but the you know, when people listen to my work, this is the stuff that they enjoy, and I think it's for a reason. So I want to try to do another take. It's always important whenever you have a client, and again, just imagine, even if it, don't imagine this is big Marvel, just imagine this is some client that it is liked your work and has said, hey, I have a character. They send you a design, and they send you this design to Khonshu, and they're like, could I get some samples? They give you a couple lines, like I just recorded a couple lines here, and it's always important to kind of push outside of your box, because I can't tell you how often it is that I'll record. The first thing I'll record is what I think this character should sound like, and then I'll have to push outside my box a little bit, think about what other interpretations this character could have, and I record 2 or 3 more or whatever, and I'll record one and be like, I don't really like it, but whatever, I'll add it into the samples, and that'll be the one that they pick. That is like, yes, that's perfect, exactly what I'm looking for, and because that's ultimately why I think, like, some people, including myself, were kind of off-put at first with this version of Khonshu from the Moon Knight series, is because someone, I'm sure, listened to a bunch of different voiceover artists and be like, that's what I want for Khonshu. And ultimately, it's everybody kind of has different ideas of what they want certain characters to sound like. And when you're doing voiceover, professionally, when someone's paying you to do it, it doesn't really matter what you think the character should sound like. It all depends on what the client wants. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to try to think of at least a couple more variations to do on this one. Go back to sleep, worm. You're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be here. Alright, and so for this one, I did a little bit of a, actually kind of closer to what is actually in the show. Not quite directly ripping it off, but kind of, like I said, just a little bit in between my first take and what was presented in the show. So I don't know if I want to. We'll go ahead and pitch it down. That's another thing. Just mess around with it, especially when you're altering a voice and everything. Just play around a little bit and see, how you like it.
Go back to sleep, worm. You're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be here.
I like that. I'm going to go one more step. So we're just one semitone down now. And see what that sounds like.
Go back to sleep, worm. You're not supposed to be here.
So I really like that, actually. I think, like I said, I think that is fairly close to the original. And whenever you're doing takes for somebody, by the way, I don't think there's any proper etiquette in, like, how to necessarily... I don't, like, if it was all spaced equally, I don't think anybody would be super upset. But it's just nice to, you have a little bit of space in between each line, but then a little bit more space to signify a change is happening. It's just how I like to set it up anyway. And it also helps when you're editing and maybe you're moving around and, you're just trying to figure out where certain things are. So we'll listen to that one more time, just one semitone down.
Go back to sleep, worm. You're not supposed to be here.
So yeah, like I said, that is, it's nice to present different options. So we're going to go ahead and create, and sometimes you maybe need to get a little wild. Don't be afraid to kind of overact, because again, you never really know what the client wants. And it's also sometimes a little fun, just a little fun to be a little goofy. When you're doing character work like this, like I said, for me, where I have the most fun, and that doesn't always mean being goofy, but where I have the most fun and it's apparent that I'm enjoying myself, tends to be the most successful stuff for me. So when I'm really, in it, I think everyone else can tell. Also, I'm gonna have to turn the microphone down a little bit, because for this one I will be a bit more aggressive, a bit more yelling. Go back to sleep, worm!
Go back to sleep, worm! You're not supposed to be here! You're not supposed to be here!
So that one, I had a bit more fun there. You saw me waving my hands around, and, don't be afraid to get into it and, really do whatever you have to do to evoke a certain emotion, or even if, I don't know, and that I felt like I was just being more theatrical, I guess. And so moving my hands around is sometimes something that I do. Don't be afraid to do that unless you're, find yourself constantly smacking the microphone or something. Then maybe tone it down a little bit. So I have this pitch down 2 semi-steps, and that's just, or semitones, and that's just kind of, I don't know. I do this a lot, and I typically try to go for a certain tone in my actual voice. And I know pitching it down 2 semitones is going to be kind of where I want that. It also will give it a little bit of a distortion to it, because there's other times, like I have a ghoul voice in my demo reel, my demon demo reel, in which I use a much higher tone in my voice. However, that little bit of distortion, and I don't mean distortion like you think distortion in a guitar, but just the way that it warps the voice a little bit. There's certain, like I said, I've played around a lot with this, and I can't recommend that enough to other people as well. Really get in there and just record some stuff, and then just mess around with it if you're looking to do stuff like this, monsters and demons and stuff that you don't want to really sound human. So let's go ahead and check this out.
Go back to sleep, worm! Go back to sleep, worm! You're not supposed to be here! You're not supposed to be here! Go back to sleep, worm!
I like those takes. Again, would this be my go-to? Not necessarily. I do strongly believe in recording many different variations for a character. So I like all these takes for different reasons, and sometimes you'll find yourself kind of struggling. Which, if you're presenting to a client, feel free to leave extra takes in there. They will always appreciate it, because again, you might like one take for one reason and one take for another reason, and then one of those reasons might be more important to your client. So keep that in mind. Now, granted, if you're just doing a little sample, because I have many people that ask me for samples all the time. Like I said, hey, this is my character. I don't really know what voice, or maybe they have some kind of vague idea of a voice. Here's the character design. And I have plenty of people that are like, here's the character design. Do whatever you want. Whatever you think will work for it. Just bring this character to life. So I'm going to struggle and pick one here.
Go back to sleep, worm! Go back to sleep, worm!
I think I like that one.
You're not supposed to be here! You're not supposed to be here!
Okay, so I picked the 2 that are a bit more extreme, a bit more overacted, larger than life, which I think can definitely fit with a character like Khonshu, especially how he was in this series. Because I did like how, and I'm really not trying to get into too many spoilers about the show, but the way that they played out the Egyptian gods, where they were kind of, being real petty with each other and everything, and real dramatic. So I feel like that was a good interpretation that, like I said, the client might like. So we'll go ahead and listen to all 3 of these right here.
Go back to sleep, worm.
Hello?
You're not supposed to be here.
Yep.
Go back to sleep, worm.
Hello?
You're not supposed to be here.
Yep.
Go back to sleep, worm.
Hello?
You're not supposed to be here.
Yep.
So there is my audition reel for Khonshu. Please let me know which voice you liked best. If you had a problem with the original voice, do any of these voices, feel like they fit a bit better for the character? with your interpretation of the character design and everything. Do you not like any of them? Whatever you want to say, I don't care. Let me know in the comments down below. I definitely want to keep doing more of this with other characters. I guess sneak peek. I think the next one I'm going to do is Venom from the Venom movie. I have a lot of issues with the way that character sounds, and I definitely think I can have some fun making a new voice for him. But if you have any other suggestions of different characters that maybe just didn't quite sound right, and it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a demon or monster or a robot or thing. I do other voices as well. And see, I don't know if you heard that. I smacked my desk. That's an example of if you're moving your hands around too much. Make sure you're not hitting things. But yeah, if you have any other suggestions for something you would like me to try to do a voiceover for, I would love to hear them. And again, I'd like to hear what you thought about my interpretations of Khonshu, the god of the moon, the god of the travelers of the night, or whatever he's called, the god of, I don't remember. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time.